This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Jeff Galloway, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 116 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Welcome to the show. We hope this episode finds you safe and well. And thank you for tuning in on your long run, on your commute, on just any day around the house. We are so happy to have you with us today.
And we don't really care where you listen to us, just that you listen to us.
Yeah.
So, if just a quick disclaimer, if you hear anything that sounds like thunder and lightning as we are recording, or it won't sound like lightning. If it sounds like thunder, it's because we have a heck of a afternoon thunder happening right now.
It's pretty bad. So,
So, just fair warning, you may hear that.
Yeah. But other than that, you should hear a fantastic show today for episode 116.
Indeed.
Because we get to talk about the continuation of our 30K Gauntlet challenge from Metal Chasers.
Yes.
And we get to talk about two things that we love in the food and beverage portion of our show.
Food and beverage, but specifically food from one of our favorite local food trucks, Mangia. Yes.
And a brand new beer from one of our favorite breweries, Big Storm.
Yes, and we didn't get an exclusive on it, but we were there when it launched, and we actually got to sample it before they even put it in cans.
Yeah, we had like a sneak peek.
Yeah.
I felt like an elite or like a VIP.
Or an insider.
Yeah.
And we know how good it feels to be an insider.
Yeah, we do.
So, yeah, we got some great stuff for you guys this week. And one's going to be the thrill of victory. The other is going to be the agony of defeat as we are talking about our run today.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, he didn't tell me he was going to frame it that way.
I did not.
Before we started the show. But do you want to start off our run portion?
No, because I'm the agony of defeat. You're the thrill of victory.
Well, shouldn't we end with that?
No, it's just like the whole ABC sports intro, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. And you see the guy on the skis just go off the ramp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm the thrill of victory. I go first?
You go first.
Oh, okay. Get it. See, I'm catching up on the whole thing right now. This
is what happens when you do it live.
Yeah.
But it's recorded live.
It's recorded live. It's all right. I get it now. But you've taught me something else about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat and all that sporty stuff.
I'll show you the intro from the old ABC Wide World of Sports. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'll catch up. Don't worry. So we continued our Gauntlet challenge, the 30K version of the Gauntlet challenge, and it is from Metal Chasers. And by the way, we have to say, we interviewed Bill and Christina Craig from Metal Chasers, the founders, the owners, back on episode 113, which you can check out at runeatdrink.net, and you can click on shows and you can search for episode 113 or Metal Chasers, what have you. But Bill and Christina this week celebrated their wedding anniversary, and I believe it was their 18th from what I saw on Instagram. So happy anniversary, you two.
That's
Thanks
awesome.
for motivating us and inspiring us to run these virtual races and be motivated despite the recent cancellations of all of our races to this point this year.
Yes.
Yeah, you have given us a reason to stay motivated, inspired, and given us some pretty kick butt medals.
And let us indulge our geeky sides a little bit. I mean, we've focused a lot on Marvel themed races, which they've provided us some Star Wars themed races as well. So
Disney.
Yeah. So this has been really, really great.
So we love it. So I actually completed all of the 5Ks for each stone as of this morning.
Boom.
And so, I'm not in it for PR. I'm not in it to, I'm in it to try some of these ratios and see what's going to be long-term benefit.
Sure.
And then when we get into the long run weekends, I'm in it for the mileage, not really for the time. So for the first few stones, for like the space, the mind, the reality, and the power stone, they were all just, they weren't for time. Really, I wasn't trying to be really speedy on those. And for the time stone and for the soul stone to round out my nano gauntlet.
Yes.
The Tony Stark version of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
The nano gauntlet. I actually tried one specific ratio for each mile, for each second and third mile in these 5Ks, just to see what I would feel comfortable with, if the 1-to-4 ratio was still going to work out for me, or if if I could push it back to a 1-to-3, or just playing with intervals at this time in training, because it's not towards the end of the training where you kind of have to have decided your race strategy, your nutrition, all of that, and you're just kind of in the taper phase and you're done and you just got to show up and execute.
Right.
This is the time where you can play with some of those things to find what's going to work, so you can be 100% confident when you hit the start line on race day. So,
and just so that our newer listeners who may have joined the Runcation Nation recently or are up to speed, we run using the Galloway run, walk, run method. So when you hear us talking about intervals, we're talking about a run
and
interval
ratios,
and a walk interval, and ratios meaning the amount of time of run to walk.
Right. So I played with it, and I'm not speedy like you, but I got in under an hour for the time stone and the soul stone. And I was playing with this last one this morning, a 10:30 ratio for the entirety of the second mile of the 5K.
Ooh.
And then a 15:45 for the third mile.
Okay.
Yeah. 15:45, that's 1-to-3.
That is a 1-to-3 ratio.
1-to-3,
yes.
and the 10:30.
It's also a 1-to-3, but it's a different.
So I'm trying to find, like, where's the 1-to-3 ratio that'll work for me, or will it work for me at all?
Right.
And the 10:30 yielded an average pace of 16:36
per mile. Okay.
And then the 15:45 was 16:17.
Wow.
16:17. So
it's like a 19-second per mile difference there.
And I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to use them both again, and that's a 16. And I've done some speed work where I'll run a quarter mile with a 1-to-4 ratio, like a 6:24.
And what was your weather and conditions like when you were doing this?
Super humid. Sun was beating down. It was not overcast in any way. The rain and the overcast skies are saved for this afternoon and this evening.
Right.
So the conditions were not as brutal as we've had in the past, but there was no breeze, no shade. I was using a swoosh band to wipe sweat away. I'm telling you. So, I know I have to get under that to be able to finish some races that may or may not happen here in the latter part of 2020.
Right.
But, I mean, it felt pretty good despite the conditions.
Well, that's good.
And I did push, so toward the end it felt difficult. So I know I have a long way to go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get within the time limit of those 2 big races that we're hoping will still happen.
I think you'll be fine. I think that when you are looking at your time here and you're taking into account how hot and humid it was. I mean, the feels like today is over 100 degrees. Mm-hmm. You were running in heat and humidity.
Yeah.
You would go faster, or you would have faster times if you'd started at maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, no sun, or you would have better times in a cooler environment where we're planning potentially to maybe possibly go run later in the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I felt pretty good about it. I think I should feel pretty good about the progress there because it was well under an hour.
Yeah.
There at the end with the Soul Stone with 54 minutes, 22 seconds. So, I mean, in playing with the ratios, and that was including a walking warm-up for that 5K and also stopping to take water. I mean, literally stopping.
Right.
To drink water in the driveway and then go on.
Okay.
So
that's not bad at all.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah. And let's be clear, you also started out at an hour and 11 minutes and change.
Yes.
And progressively throughout the course of this entire challenge consistently shaved time off of each consecutive 5K until you got down to 54 minutes, 22 seconds for your last one. So you shaved off 17 minutes and 19 seconds over the course of 6 5Ks.
And I think some of that is searching for the right ratio, the run, walk, run ratio, but also to work on form in terms of the cadence, the number of steps that I get, especially in the walk, because it's so tempting the longer the ratio, the slow down, or the longer the walk ratio to slow down, or in the latter part of the 5K. To like you're almost done, you're like, you got to stay strong to the end, and that can be hard. You want to slow down when it's hot, when it's humid, when you just want it to be done.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I also noticed that aside from the walk ratio where you might have the temptation to slow down, if I've got to manipulate my phone to change music, find music, change podcasts, whatever the case may be, I tend to, because again, human beings are not made to multitask.
No.
I tend to find myself slowing down. I don't maintain the pace that I should.
Oh, yeah. Like, when we're at water stops at races, I certainly know that is the time when I'm going to slow down the most. So that's the time to take the nutrition, take the water, and then maybe just try to turn over the cadence a little bit coming out of that
right
at an actual race. So the stopping and that and the reduction in the number of steps that I get. I know I have to work on that.
Yeah.
But I also know in some races where you experience some tight quarters or water stops where it's going to be a bunch of people at once trying to get at the water and nutrition, you kind of have to adjust expectations.
Right.
And then kind of monitor afterwards to see how much time we need to step it up.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you do this week, sir?
Well,
I've talked enough.
I have some news to report, but I don't have quite as much as you do. And the agony of defeat for me comes from not completing my Gauntlet challenge yet. This was my long week. So on my long weeks at work, I work 5 5 days during the week, 12 hours each day. So that basically gives me Wednesday, Thursday off during the week. And when I work 12, what often ends up happening is by the time I get home in the afternoon, the rain is not cooperating. So I end up not being able to get my run in or having to do the run in the rain.
And if there's thunder and lightning, you can't.
Exactly. So things we've talked about before.
Yeah.
But I was able to get 3 of the 6 done, and I will hopefully give a final report on the final 3 on the next episode. But, and I thought about including, I was helping my coworker whose accountability buddy wasn't back yet, stay up and actually get his power walk in the morning. And I was like, well, I could count these, but I said at the last episode I was going to be doing some experimenting with intervals. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to count those. So I only counted the ones that I could do using Runkeeper, doing my intervals and getting it done the way I wanted to do it. So for the first 3, for the Space, the Mind, and the Reality Stone, I started at a 555 with the first one. That's the one I got stormed on. And that was kind of I put an asterisk next to it because at the very end, I did pick it up to try to get out of the rain some. But for the Mind Stone, I did a 1050 for that one. And I was able to go from a 45-35 from my first race or first run down to a 43:11. So 2 minutes, 24 seconds were shaved off my 5K time just by running an extra 5 seconds every minute. So the 10-50 ratio feels pretty good. Can't really complain there. Today, I was able to get the third run in. And I did a 15:45, just like you did, but I did it for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I went from the 43:11, doing a 1050, down to 41:32. So you're looking at a minute 40.
You're moving.
Minute 39 seconds is what I was able to shave additionally. So it was very hot, no shade, sun beating down. I did mine at about 9:30 in the morning or so. So, yeah, I mean, the conditions were not ideal, but was able to get it done. I felt good. I didn't really have any problems with that interval other than just the heat and the humidity.
So it felt like a good interval that you would use again?
I've used that one plenty in the past. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Where I'm going to have some challenges, I think, and I'm going to be learning some things is going to be in the next 3 runs. Because my next run, I'm going to do a 20-40, which is a 1-to-2 ratio.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to do a 25-35.
Are you really?
Yep. Oh. And then a 30-30 is what I'm going to end the Soul Stone on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to be very curious to see. Again, what I'm trying to find is that point of diminishing returns. And maybe I won't find it in these shorter distances, the 5K. I'm trying to find the shorter distance or the point of diminishing returns. As I put more power into it, do I get less result back? So I'll be curious to see how it pans out and how those intervals feel. Yeah. What I've also figured out is that it really helps me to have a day in between each run. Oh, yeah. If at all possible. For sure. Especially in this heat and humidity, if you aren't really, really hydrating. You've got to. Then it takes even more out of you. And at work, I do my best to stay hydrated, but sometimes that's just not really enough. So, it's kind of hard in that respect. But I should have the final report for me for next week since it is a training week for us and we are not traveling. True. So I will report back then, and hopefully I will be able to share in the thrill of victory.
Now, do you want me to wait until you've finished to reveal what's on the back of the medal?
That's up to you. That's up to you. If you want to reveal it, go for it. If you want to hold off, I'm fine with that.
Okay. We can talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right. So,
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. He's going to finish the job, report back on the ratios, and I will talk about how much I love this metal and why next week.
But all this running helped us work up a heck of an appetite. And this week we were able to satisfy that appetite at one of our favorite Southwest Florida food trucks.
Yes, and there has been a resurgence of food trucks lately, and food trucks have been really supportive to local breweries.
Yes.
Because breweries who don't have on-site food, they have not been able to be fully open.
To have seating
At the actual brewery.
Right.
Unless they have a food truck present. So we have been highlighting some great food trucks who have been there supporting local breweries, and Mangia is one that we got to sample, let's just say, some amazing menu items, new ones, because we first featured them back on episode 97.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had them almost, I want to say it's almost a year ago.
It was quite some time. It feels like forever ago.
Yes.
Personally. But we featured them back on episode 97 where they had a chicken sausage kind of hoagie and then an Italian sausage hoagie.
Yes.
But listen, they're always innovating and they are always featuring new things, trying new things on their menu. And we were lucky enough to get just a table full of awesome food and be able to give you the breakdown as we had it at the brewery.
Yes, we went to Big Storm Brewery and we got a sampling of food from the truck, and we were shooting video for our patrons through Patreon and through the patron program over on Podbean. Mm-hmm. And the audio that you're about to hear of us doing the tasting and walking you through these menu items is taken from that video.
Yeah.
So this is recorded live on scene in the brewery. So you get a little bit of the background noise, but not too bad. And it's just kind of our immediate takes on the food.
Yeah.
So here you go. Our tasting of the food from Mangia Food Truck, recorded live at Big Storm Brewing.
Hey, it's Amy from the Run Eat Drink podcast, and look who is in front of the camera today.
That never happens.
Him.
Rarely happens.
Yay! We have, through the magic of technology,
A tripod.
It's
technology.
It's technology.
It's 3 sticks.
Yes. And so he can actually be in front of the camera. We are here at Big Storm Brewing in Cape Coral. Ta-da! He's going to be Vanna for a second. And we are enjoying not only a couple of new releases from Big Storm, their fabulous beer. This is their American lager, the premium American lager. Yes. Cheers. To your weekend, sir.
That's excellent.
I love a good refreshing lager in the summer, and
It's food truck day.
it is food truck day here. We are so excited because the Mangia food truck is here and they have made us,
Quite the spread.
it's
This is
a
amazing.
smorgasbord of delicious smelling food. It would be great if we had smell-o-vision, just
Yes.
like to waft it right here. Yes. So, what do we have here, sir?
They started us off with a couple of pretzels that were made at a local bakery here in Cape Coral. But the real treat is that they made a beer cheese out of Big Storm's Oats and Hose Oatmeal Stout and white cheddar cheese.
So it's a collaboration between the food truck and the brewery.
Yes.
And it's an unexpected beer that they chose.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting.
They also have the same beer cheese in a sandwich they were affectionately calling the Schroeder, named after the taproom manager here at Big Storm, John Schroeder, friend of the show.
Yes.
And one of our founders on our Patreon program. Thank you very much, John,
our
for
newest
being a supporter.
So,
and that is a cheesesteak made with that beer cheese.
The Oats and Hose and white cheddar beer cheese.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's happening.
They're also letting us try a brand new addition to their menu.
Yes.
That is their veggie sub.
Oh.
And I'm looking at this. This looks like peppers, artichokes. That might even be a slice of eggplant.
Yes.
And that looks very hearty.
And it's got a garlic aioli on it, according to the menu. Oh, yes.
And last but not least, they have also a new addition to the menu. This is a spicy Italian sausage patty with peppers. Looks like mozzarella cheese. And this is served on a crusty ciabatta roll with the side tots.
It looks so good.
This looks amazing. So I don't know about her. She's messing with her phone.
Well, listen,
I've been eyeballing
you
this
said
pretzel.
it was mozzarella cheese.
It looks like mozzarella, based on the the pulliness of it.
It looks amazing.
Eyeballing this because the German
It's melted
baker-
Asiago.
Oh, Asiago.
It's melted
I was
Asiago.
wrong.
I have confirmed from the menu. So, sorry to interrupt your pretzel.
That's important.
Tasting.
Totally just a different flavor profile.
Yeah.
I had to get into this. The bakery that they got this from is BAM, B-A-M, bakery here in Cape Coral. Fantastic baked goods, traditional German bakery. And the beer cheese really preserves the flavor of the beer.
Mm.
This is amazing. What do you think?
The cheese is so tangy.
It's very easy in recipes, for beer cheese recipes, to kind of lose the beer and kind of hide it and be afraid of it. They're leaning into it here.
But it's not overly sweet.
No.
So Oats and Hose is an oatmeal stout.
Well, the oatmeal stout is just the heavier mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's not a sweet stout by any stretch.
So I don't think anybody should be afraid of this beer cheese. I think you should embrace this beer cheese. Perhaps bathe the pretzel in this beer cheese.
Perhaps, rub it all over yourself, whatever.
That's not this podcast. That's not this podcast. I love the saltiness and then the subtle sweetness and the tangy cheese.
Yes.
So good. Oh.
Okay. I'm going to stay with the same flavor profile. Let's try this.
All right.
This is the cheesesteak. with
It's
same
the
beer cheese.
Schroeder. Let's get real. Oh.
I love their bread. They do a great job of finding the correct roll that holds up. It doesn't get soggy and mushy and fall apart on you when you have juicy fillings.
But it's still warm and soft inside. Oh.
So that bread is super satisfying. The steak is as tender as it can be. And every good thing we said about the beer cheese here applies here. So that is fantastic. The Schroeder, as it's so aptly named.
It's hearty and meaty. And so good.
We're hoping to be able to talk to the namesake a little later.
Yes.
We are here and they are doing a couple of beer releases tonight. Of course, the Premium American Lager. They also are giving us an exclusive look at their apricot sour, which is the third in a series of 3 fruited sours that they've done this month. So
Yes, the guava and the pomegranate.
Yes.
Which we talked with our friends at 8 Foot about, and the head brewer here, Kevin Long.
Yes.
So, a few weeks ago.
So what do you think? Do you want to do sausage or want to go veggie?
I mean, well, we've had some. Let's go.
Veggie?
Let's go veggie.
Break it up.
Yeah.
Same
I love
roll.
this.
This is the same roll, so it's got this great feel to the bread. It's just got a nice toothsomeness to it.
So hearty.
When you grill vegetables,
Sorry.
you tend to have the vegetables give up moisture, and that could really easily ruin a lesser bun or a lesser roll. This does a really good job of maintaining its integrity.
But it's not hard. It's not hard on the inside. It's soft, so it holds up to the meat here, but it holds up to the hearty vegetables in here. I mean, I love artichoke on this.
All right, that looks
And
like
eggplant. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eggplant is a great grilling vegetable. It will take on flavors of really anything you cook it with.
Oh.
It's a great sponge for seasoning and for oil, so you can add a little fat to it. This also has artichoke, which is, you know, when you get pickled artichoke or artichoke heart, they are so tart. What a great component. This is satisfying, and you don't miss the meat.
No, because the eggplant makes it such a meaty sandwich.
Yeah, the eggplant, the texture of the eggplant, and the eggplant is also really easy to get wrong. If you do it wrong, it turns out bitter, and they didn't do it wrong.
This is perfect. And I think it was really great to do artichoke and eggplant because it's different texturally.
Yep.
And then goes so well with the bread just to give you a hearty sandwich. It's not like, here's your slice of mushroom and that's
It's also
it.
got some roasted red pepper.
Oh,
Those roasted red peppers are great.
it's delicious.
So this is last but not least. Amy is a huge fan of Italian sausage.
I am.
And their sausage that they make is so good. We actually talked about it on an episode.
When we had a sausage hoagie, a sausage sandwich, you had
I had the chicken
the
sausage.
chicken sausage and I had the spicy Italian sausage.
They do a chicken sausage with Asiago cheese and roasted red peppers that is to die for.
So good.
Their spicy Italian and the sausage hoagie was fantastic. I'm very curious to see how this turns out.
And it's a patty.
Yeah. And
It's a patty.
It's not okay. That's not a sausage patty. That's a hamburger made out of sausage.
But it's huge. Like, look at how thick it is. It's not like a breakfast sandwich thin, tight.
And again, they went with a really good bread choice. A nice crusty ciabatta roll.
Oh, and there's some red peppers here.
It's just so satisfying.
And Asiago cheese.
Good bread can make a sandwich.
Oh. Oh, the spice from the sausage is incredible.
Instant sage bomb. There's a little.
And the
Sweetness. What is that?
That's from the pepper. That's from the pepper.
No,
Right?
no, it's from the. There's a balsamic glaze.
Yes, that too.
That's what it is.
But I got the
But
pepper right
peppers
away.
are very sweet.
I got the pepper with the sausage right away. Oh,
You could not go wrong with this.
oh my gosh. It's so good.
That's the satisfaction of a burger, but the Italian flavor of a sausage sub.
So delicious. And we have tots with this, which are super crunchy.
Which also are probably going to get totally overlooked because we have so much food here.
Oh, but, and you know, when you see a pretzel this big, you would think that it was soft, but it's crunchy.
Gotcha.
And it still soaks up the flavor of the beer cheese.
Yeah.
So it's a different bread texture here than here.
And
on the
here
sandwiches.
and here. All three. These are three different types of bread, three different textures, three different flavors. Do you have a favorite?
Gosh, it's so hard, you know. Like, so you all know from the show that we eat vegetarian, vegan 6 days a week, and I just think if we were coming on a day that I want it to be straight up and
As good as you can be.
it was not like a day 7 and not like an indulgence day. I think this would be so satisfying. This would be so satisfying, and it would give you just it's so filling, so hearty, and you're not missing a thing not having meat here. So it's a unique offering because not all food trucks have a vegetarian option that is so hearty and so filling.
Right.
You know, so that's what I would say in terms of just being unique and different.
Right.
But I mean, sausage is my jam. Also, the steak. You can't
decide?
I can't decide. I love them all. So you have to decide.
Okay, I'm deciding that Amy's favorite is no, I'm not doing it.
He knows.
Honestly,
He's a
there's-
smart man.
No, there really is no wrong answer here. I would say that if I'm going to pick the sandwich, I'm probably going to lean towards the cheesesteak only because you're getting such a heavy dose of the beer cheese. but that is
only because the meat is incredible.
Meat is incredible, but if the beer cheese were taken out of it, I'd probably go with the sausage. So that's just me.
The sausage is so good.
Yeah.
It's all fantastic, and I think if you come with friends or family, if you get one sandwich and you have it split, one sandwich.
One sandwich with the tots and the beer and all that is going to be perfect.
So filling.
Yeah. So if you're coming down to Southwest Florida, if you're going to enjoy the beaches of Sanibel, if you're coming to Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and you're looking for food trucks, look up the Mangia food truck on Facebook. We're going to have a link to them in our show notes.
Yep.
They're all over Southwest Florida doing their pop-ups during the week and on weekends. Our friends here at Big Storm, I think, are going to be having them more frequently.
Yes, and they're fairly new, so sometimes they'll be a last-minute addition in some of our favorite places, which we love.
Yeah, so you really are in for a treat if you come in and try them. And of course, one of our favorites here in Cape Coral is Big Storm Brewing. Come here, check them out. Their new release is the Premium American Lager.
Yes, the Premium American Lager.
And we'll be talking about this more in depth later on in the show.
Yes, so cheers to awesome food from Mangia and awesome beer from Big Storm. And thank you for tuning in for this. Boy, I really hope you ate something before you listened to that segment, because hearing it back,
I'm hungry.
My mouth is watering, and all I can think about is that homemade Italian sausage patty.
Oh, that,
everything was amazing.
Everything was amazing, but that one jumped out at me because you don't expect a sausage patty the size of a thick burger.
I know. You think about, it's a sausage patty like a breakfast sandwich, like a fast food breakfast sandwich. No.
Nope.
It is not that at all. It is the most amazing sausage patty. I cannot tell you enough. Of course, you experienced it through our virtual tasting there that you listened to.
Yeah, we wish that there was a way to offer the smells and the tastes to you.
Yeah.
All we can say is come on down to Southwest Florida and find them.
Yes.
It's going to be well worth your while. And, we only went through those items. They have a lot of other stuff on their menu. I mean, it's a well-rounded menu without being too big.
Right?
It's not like they have so much there that they can't. They do, of course, the fact that they were doing the partnership with Big Storm and doing that beer cheese for the cheesesteak.
The Oats and Hose beer cheese.
Most of the time, again, most places you don't expect to get a beer cheese made out of a stout. It is amazing, that beer cheese. You could put that on a spare tire and it would taste good.
We need it again.
But they also do, they do, pork roll and cheese. They do on ciabatta. They are doing Italian style pulled pork with balsamic glaze,
Yum.
eggplant parm and chicken parm, meatball parm. Everything they've got. There's nothing on their menu over $9.
Yeah.
Right
Everything's
now,
$9
as of right now,
except for a side of tater tots. Everything is $9.
Right, and that's $3. So you
for
can
the side
eat
of tater tots
really well for not a lot of money, and
It's
the portions
so
are
good.
enormous.
Oh my God! Like you could easily get that Italian sausage patty sandwich and split it, and it comes with tots, and you would just be so full.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Oh my goodness!
Absolutely.
So good.
So check them out. We're going to have a link to them in the show notes.
Yes.
And when you get down here to Southwest Florida, seek them out at local events and breweries.
Well, now before we go on, we should say that we have a fantastic interview with John and Nancy from the Mangia food truck.
Yes.
For our insiders as part of our Patreon program.
Yes. Insiders are patrons who commit to $10 a month sponsorship. That gets them all of the backstage access, some of the extra video that we shoot. So, aside from getting the descriptions that you heard here, you also get to see the food, meet the owners, and kind of get an idea from them what their motivations are, what they're passionate about, what's coming up.
Inspiration.
Amy was pumping them for information.
Yeah. for future menu items. Hello, that sounded amazing.
It really did.
I think that is some next level insider stuff.
It absolutely is. But regardless, if you want to just help out and support the show, head on over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and check out the membership levels. We have the fan level starting at $2 a month, heading on up to the insider level at $10 a month. Any sponsorship level at all really does help the show. It helps keep the bandwidth flowing, helps keep us able to continue accomplishing, exploring, and indulging with you. And we've got some awesome perks to go along with each of the membership levels.
Yes, and if you want access to it over on Podbean, if you're a Podbean user, you can go to patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. The levels are the same, the fan, the founder, the insider, $2, $5, $10 levels. We've had such phenomenal response from runners at races who say, we love what you're doing. It's so cool. We want to support you. How can we do it? This is one way. Patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast.
Yeah, and if you're a Podbean user, just go into our main podcast page. There's a button right at the top that says Become a Patron. So that's just
simple.
One click.
So it's simple, and we cannot thank all of you enough for your support of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Now, we were filming live on location at Big Storm Brewing here in Cape Coral, and it is only fitting that we are able to give you guys a review of a brand new beer release from one of our favorite breweries.
Yes, it came out. I mean, we might have sampled it before it was released.
We did. You know, it is nice of our friends over at the Cape Coral Tap Room to, give us a little sneak peek at what's going on. We were doting on the fact that, there are 2 times a year at Big Storm that they really, really shine. They have a fantastic stable of beers, I think, all year round.
All year round. Their core beers are great. And we know that firsthand because one of the very first beers that we ever talked about on the show, in our very first Quick Bite for the show, almost 4 years ago.
Almost.
Was the Wavemaker Amber Ale, which is one of their core beers.
And that's one that we get a growler fill of all the time still to this day.
Which is just delightful.
But we love it when they are getting ready for the Hurricane Series, which is the start of hurricane season being June 1st is right here on us. And they do their series of Belgians, but they also start getting ramped up early for their Oktoberfest. And
start talking about it.
One of their beers that they do for Oktoberfest is their German Pils.
Which we love, the German Pilsner. Oh my goodness.
It is a fantastic light, crisp beer, and they were getting an early start on that because they really had such an amazing response from the community to that beer that they couldn't keep it in stock. They had to pull it and hide some kegs.
I mean,
So they'd have it for their Oktoberfest celebration.
I might have asked them about, can we buy a keg and keep it here?
You're
Sorry.
only partly joking because we said, we don't own a kegerator yet.
No.
And there are few beers that I'd be willing to commit to a kegerator for.
But that Pilsner.
That's one of them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, yes.
But so they were trying to get an early jump on that and get some German Pils brewed. And as happens from time to time in the brewing process, a happy accident occurred.
Well, whatever they did in the brewing process resulted in a lager instead of their German Pilsner.
Yeah, they were looking for a certain color and clarity and just a flavor profile that is what their recipe is supposed to produce. And then I don't know if it was a change in the grain that they used
I don't know.
Or what?
I mean, you know.
And even the brewer says, he goes, yeah, sometimes things happen, but it turned out to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's when we got our sample.
And we're like, okay, we're so on board. When will you have it?
And they just released it this week.
Yes, and we are so glad that they did, and they have it in cans, and they have it on draft. The American Premium Lager is 4.7 ABV, and it says on their website, when it's on draft, it's described as our American Premium Lager is golden in color with shades of copper and a firm white head. Flavor is subtle with mild grain and malt sweetness with a hint of German hops. This beer will take you back to the good old days of lager brewing.
And I think their description is absolutely spot on. As we are recording this, we are both sampling a can. And not only did they get it brewed and then they got it canned, they designed a can just in the last few weeks. The can is even kind of evocative of a little bit of Americana. It's just a cool.
Seems patriotic to me.
Almost like, but also a little bit retro, almost back to like the 1970s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And it is just a crisp, refreshing, very easy drinking lager that is similar to the Pilsner, but has a little more of a toasty, maybe caramelly hint.
I think it's the slight malt sweetness
that they talk about in the label.
And it's not quite the same breadiness.
No, it is not.
Yeah. But it's still such a great hot weather beer.
Oh, this is a perfect weekend beer for yard work, for the pool. And when I talk about hot weather beers, I tend to default to those things because those are two big hot weather activities here in Florida, and something you can basically spend your whole day doing.
But it could be at the beach.
Oh,
if you have
absolutely.
a cooler of the cans, or if you're poolside, or you could be washing your car. You could be, just outside. You know how some people have kind of like the little driveway parties. Yeah. With their seats, their
lawn chairs.
Adirondack, but
lawn
but I
chairs.
love Adirondack chair. But their lawn chairs and some neighborhood goodness.
Absolutely.
That it would be great, but it would also be great for a barbecue. And this is a season fraught with occasion for good grilling.
Oh, absolutely.
Being out there.
And I like the fact that when you pour this gives you, it's a slight, they say golden in color. I say golden bordering on amber. Yeah.
Yes.
But when you pour it, it is just like the iconic, nice color. And then when they say the thick firm white head, it does. It really gives you a nice white head that will subside over a couple of minutes. Yeah. But it has a nice firmness to it. It's a picture perfect beer when you pour it.
And I don't get any bitterness or major hop flavor like a pine or a citrus hop would be very pronounced. No. I don't get that at all.
Not at all.
Very mild hint of hop.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not the overriding flavor.
Not at all.
Yeah. This is not hop forward.
Nope. This would be a great beer with burgers, hot dogs, steaks.
Yeah.
I think this is just a great job. It's a great happy accident. I hope that they whatever they did this time,
they just keep doing it.
You guys write it down.
Yeah.
And
make notes.
Keep doing it.
Whatever it is.
I think that people are going to love this beer.
Yeah.
I know how the German Pilsner was received, at least in the Cape Coral tap room. And
well, they didn't have it anywhere else. They couldn't keep it anywhere else either. So in the Tampa area, Clearwater, Pasco, they're running out of it up there too. So I think that they'll have the same, I guess, blessing or problem with this. It's
Well,
a great problem to have.
I think they will, and I think we'll have to like grab a 4-pack, set it aside, and then wait for the German Pilsner to come out because I would love to A/B compare these.
Gosh, I would love to do that.
So
That's
I think we
so
should do
smart.
that. We should do that.
Yes, for sure. So
that'll be on an upcoming maybe quick bite or something like that.
Yeah, we can't wait to experience, like we said, with the start of hurricane season, their series of category beers and their anniversary coming up. And if you have the Big Storm beer near you, you should definitely indulge in it, because there is a style that Big Storm offers for everyone. It could be an IPA, it could be a lager, it could be a Pilsner, it could be...
They just released a series of two sours, and a third is on the way. They've done a guava sour and a pomegranate sour. Yeah. Both are only at 4% ABV.
And an apricot, I believe,
is on the way. An apricot is coming.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to try that one.
Yeah. So you can find something on their menu for your palate.
And they also even have some very premium beers that they sell as bomber releases.
Yeah.
That tend to be their barrel-aged offerings that are higher potency, higher ABV.
Sippers. Yes.
The fine wine of beer. But great stuff.
Yeah, so we'll link to their website in our show notes.
And they can be found in Southwest Florida and in Central Florida.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And then they're, I believe, distributed throughout the state. So
yeah, and in other states too.
Yes.
So you can head to the Big Storm website and you can find their beer throughout this country in various states.
Do yourself a favor.
Try it. It's awesome. And cheers to the American Premium Lager.
Well, this week we welcome a brand new founder.
Yay!
And speaking of Big Storm, John Schroeder, the taproom manager at Big Storm Brewing here in Cape Coral, was kind enough to sponsor us personally, not as a company sponsorship, but personally, $5, and he's become a founder for the show. So, John, thank you so much for believing in us and helping us keep the lights on here at the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Yes, and sharing our passion for running, eating, drinking, accomplishing, exploring, and indulging.
And he told us yesterday that listening to us is what's gotten him back out and running in his neighborhood. He's up to doing 2 miles a day now.
Which is fantastic. So
we're very excited for you, John, so keep it up.
Yes, and look for your name on our patron wall at runeatdrink.net.
Yes. If you love what you hear and you want to keep the lights on, you can become a patron and support the show. There are multiple patronage levels from $2 to $10, each with their own special perks. Find out more at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast, or if you're a Podbean user, go to patron.podbean.com/runeatdrinkpodcast.
And that puts a lid, as one of our fellow favorite podcasters would say, on this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. So thank you for joining us wherever you have. We are so lucky to have such a great Runcation Nation that subscribes, downloads, listens to our show. Really, from our hearts, thank you for tuning in. And we can't wait to talk to you next week. So for now, I'm your host, Amy.
And I am your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe, stay well, and we will talk to you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having a great third year because of your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Run, Eat, Drink podcast. And on Twitter, we're at Run, Eat, Drink pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or shoot us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.